So apparently there's been a couple people who have been able to scan vintage Pokemon card booster packs to determine exactly what holofoil card is on the inside. And something that I'm not seeing people talk about is why this is such a horrible discovery. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're watching the channel Dr. Applesauce 2. My name's Will. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. I hope you guys know that I love you, God loves you, and that there is an awesome plan for your life. So apparently, like 4 or 5 days ago, this information came out. There was a video released and then a couple articles released about two different parties, two different groups of people that essentially took CT scanners, which are medical scanners, and were able to, through a series of events, scan vintage booster packs that were heavy to get images showing what the holofoil card would be. Now, this has been covered by several different channels, and today I'm not really going to dive into the intricacies of how they did this and show videos of how they did this. There's videos out there. You can go and find the original article from these people. You can go find the videos themselves doing all of that, which I'll, through this video, show screenshots of those. All that can be discovered later. That's all out there. But what I want to talk about how this is terrifying. How even by the admission of one of the guys who figured out how to do this, that this could be really badly abused. And let me tell you, my friends, when there's opportunities to make money, in an unfair way, the cockroaches come out of the woodworks. Somebody is going to abuse this. It's gonna happen. So let's break all this down. Guys, I want you to drop me a comment down below. Let me know, have you heard about this and what do you think about this process? Do you think it's great or do you think it's going to be abused in the future? I want to hear your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. But essentially, there's two different groups of people that basically took medical CT scanners and were able to figure out how to take a whole bunch of scans of heavy vintage booster packs and combine all those scans and put them together to be able to see which card is the holofoil and which holofoil is going to be. Now, maybe you don't understand this. Maybe you only collect modern or you're a new collector. You don't really understand how all this works. Basically, with vintage booster packs, there's only so many holos that you can get, okay? It's been very well known and very documented that vintage booster packs can be weighed because there was no code cards in the vintage packs. So basically you can weigh the booster pack, and if it's heavier, it has a holo in it. And any booster box that would get open, there's usually anywhere from 10 to 12 holofoils in a booster box. So there's a very good market for people that sell heavy packs. Hey, this is a heavy vintage booster pack, meaning it's guaranteed to have a holofoil in it for you. So you could buy that, but you still don't know which holo you're going to get because there may be 10 to 12 to 15 holos in that set of whichever booster pack you purchase. So there's still a little bit of mystery, okay? We caught up, everybody jiving with me? You jiving? But the thing is, with this technology being figured out, and as time goes by, and it's going to be ironed out even more, and it's going to be perfected even more, you can take one of these guaranteed vintage booster packs, or these guaranteed heavy vintage booster packs that is guaranteed to have holofoil in it, you just don't know which one, and now you can scan it, and you can see, beyond a shadow of a doubt, which holofoil it could be. Why is that important? Let's just look at base set for just the simplest purposes, okay? In base set, the card that you want to pull is the Charizard, okay? In base set, the card that you don't want to pull is like the Poliwhirl, or the Poliwrath, I'm sorry. If you pull the Poliwrath, it's worth a few dollars in a vintage holo pack that was a vintage heavy pack that maybe cost you hundreds of dollars to buy. If you pull the Charizard is worth hundreds of dollars. If you pull the Charizard and you grade the Charizard and it gets a 10, it's worth well over $1,000. It's worth a lot of money. That is why this is relevant, because here's tinfoil hat theory, right? I don't even really think it's theory. I think this is very likely this is going to start to happen. But here, let's take that. Okay, let's put tinfoil hat on, right? Okay. You can take a whole bunch of heavy packs, and now, in theory and in practicality, and you may not have the technology, but you theoretically now can go scan all these packs. Again, yes, I understand. There's barriers. You got to understand how to do all this stuff. You got to have the machines, blah, 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 blah. We'll get to that in a second. But you can theoretically scan all of these packs and say, oh, that one's a Poliwrath. Okay, that one's a Zapdos. Okay, that one's a Scyther. Okay, oh, here's a Charizard. Oh, here's a Blastoise. Oh, here's another Charizard. Out of 30 packs, pull out the few that might have the Charizards and the really expensive holos and move the rest and theoretically sell those heavy packs, because they're still heavy packs, at inflated heavy pack prices, knowing that nobody's going to be able to pull the Charizard or whatever that ultimate chase is. They'll still get the foil, but you know, because you have theoretically taken out the packs by scanning them that have the big hit cards. This is incredibly relevant with vintage, because each vintage set has a handful of holos that are really the biggest chases and worth the most money, and a bunch of other holos that really aren't worth anywhere near as much. And the reason I find this interesting is, one, okay, yeah, this is interesting information, right? This is kind of cool, but it's kind of scary, because if you go along and let time pass, like I said, when there's an opportunity for money to be made, the cockroaches are going to come out of the woodworks. Scammers are going to come out of the woodworks. People that don't mind bending morals and screwing other people over to make money are going to come forward. Now, the barrier to that is you can't just go ahead and just start doing this right off the bat. There's a few obstacles you have to overcome, but that could very well be overcome. You've got to get one of these CT scanners. You've got to retrofit it the appropriate way, and the information is now coming out how to do all this. And you have to have somebody smart enough to do this, somebody smart enough to run this, and somebody that is all of those things but has low enough morals that they're willing to essentially screw people and scam people by potentially going out and buying heavy packs in mass, scanning them, and keeping all the packs that have the really valuable holos and selling the rest. So all of that is the barrier to entry for potentially pulling something like this off. Now, that just makes it more difficult, but somebody still could do it. It does take a person who's a lot smarter than me to be able to figure all of this out and figure out how the CT scanner does all this and blah, blah, blah. And these guys have figured it out. There's a ton of people in the world that are smarter than me. Somebody will figure out how to do this, put all the right people together, and be able to, because what, the CT machine cost $1,500 and 3 months worth of work. So what, for a couple $1,000, and now the work is being shown how this was done, how these vintage packs have been scanned, how even an Evolution's pre-release box was scanned. The work is being shown how this is done, so that makes the process of learning how to do it, that learning curve, a lot easier. So really the barrier for entry to doing this is low morals, a couple $1,000, and then somebody smart enough with low enough morals that either partners with somebody or has $1,000 to do this. And then the next thing you know, you could literally go out and clear the market of every heavy vintage pack out there and start to scan all of them and keep all of the big heavy cards, and then really, really screw everybody and sell the rest of the heavy packs that are still heavy but don't have any of the important chase cards in it. I think this is crazy, because even in the description of the video of one of the guys who figured all this out, he says in that description, yeah, this was a thing that we didn't really talk about, and we kept it secret because we knew it could be abused. And then one party made it not a secret anymore, and then so he decided to not make it a secret anymore. But he admits that, yeah, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this because you can abuse this. And he also admits that he doesn't really, in his video, he doesn't really know a ton about Pokemon. So he doesn't really know, hey, if I can prove that this pack has, a Charizard in it, is that worth more than just the Charizard itself? Is it a higher potential grade because you're guaranteed this card in here than a card that is graded? So by the admission of one of the individuals that figured all this out, he doesn't know all the intricacies of the Pokemon TCG market, which is understandable, right? Not everybody knows everything about everything, right? I don't know how to retrofit these CT scanners to do this. But that being said, even these guys that have figured all of this technology out admit, hey, we shouldn't really be making these in mass because this could be abused. Now, they have put patents on it, but I'm not a huge student of patent law, but I don't see how a patent could keep somebody from buying a CT scanner and then figuring all this out if they're smart enough like these guys are, right? It's just taking something that exists and figuring out the processes. It's not like they're creating something new. And then somebody that was willing to go through all of that, willing to potentially buy a bunch of packs and then potentially try and scan them and keep all the really, really valuable hits, they're going to keep that to themselves. It's not like they're going to be, offering to do it as a service. Like one of the things that he mentioned in the description of the video, he's like, this could be something that people could offer to do as a service, which is highly alarming and highly terrifying. Imagine someone, some big company, whatever, insert whatever big company that's like, hey, we have perfected this. You can send your vintage booster pack to us and we'll charge you, $50 or whatever to scan it and tell you what's inside. Oh my God, can you imagine if somebody did that, and then instead of just trying to screw everybody, they're just, providing this service for everyone, and then there is no such thing as a mystery to what's inside of a vintage booster pack anymore. That's what is scary about this whole thing. As technology advances and develops, things like this always happen. And I haven't paid a whole lot of attention on who is covering this situation. I know there's a bunch of videos out there, and I'm behind because I was at New Jersey Collecticon, and I'm just getting back into the swing of things after a big convention weekend. But my initial thoughts, just reading over their articles and looking at the data that they put forth, is that this is really scary. And this will make it to where, for me, and my recommendation for everybody, I'll never buy another vintage booster pack again. And I don't recommend anybody ever buy another vintage booster pack. I mean, yeah, right now, if you went and bought vintage booster packs right now, it's probably safe because this technology isn't really widespread. It's just come out. But I'd say in the next couple months, that's enough time for somebody to see this and say, ooh, I'm going to do this. And there's just that possibility of there being issues with heavy vintage packs. Unless it's from somebody that you know that said, watch me, I opened this box and weighed out the heavies, and then now you can buy one, then that's still a safe way to do it, right? But it just makes the possibility and makes it to where vintage packs, even if they're heavy packs and they're being sold as heavy packs, after another month or two, would not necessarily be 100% safe or guaranteed. And so it just goes back to what do? Buy singles. If you're opening vintage, you're losing money anyways. Like, it doesn't matter if you're opening a heavy vintage pack. You are 99% chance going to lose money. Yeah, you can pull a Charizard from base set, and you can grade it and get a 9 or a 10, but you have to go through all of these maybe this will happen steps in order to actually make money opening the vintage pack. Buy singles. That's what this tells me. For vintage, buy singles. Like, I don't know what else. Like, it's really cool, and it's cool to see, but all I see is the potential for somebody to abuse it and scam people in the future and make vintage packs not safe anymore. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. Am I being crazy or am I right on the money? That's kind of what I think. Again, we got tinfoil hat on off, right? So anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this one, give me a thumbs up. It helps the video. It's free for you to do. It's a great way for you to support me. To subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And watch that video right there. YouTube says you like it. And like I always say, find somebody to love and serve today. Be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.